the cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. An $8.7 billion obsession.
We're talking about David Geffen, of course, a titan. But in May 2025, his world was absolutely rocked by a divorce filing.
Welcome to Starscope Report.
Join us, Jordan and Jamie, as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and yeah, those viral influencer scandals, too.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, it's the Geffen divorce, a 9-year relationship, a 50-year age gap, ending very, very publicly.
Our mission today is to really get under the hood of this split. Forget the quick headlines. We're looking at the legal chess game, the competing story.
And the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
The truly shocking part everyone's buzzing about. No prenuptial agreement.
How does David Geffen, a man known for, ruthless business precision, make that kind of oversight with $8.7 billion on the line?
Exactly. It's almost inexplicable that one decision basically guaranteed this would become a media circus.
Okay, so let's dig in. The core of this whole mess seems to be this massive imbalance between them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like two different worlds colliding. You've got David Geffen, 82 years old, worth billions, basically a founding father of modern entertainment. Asylum Records, Geffen Records, DreamWorks, SKG.
Yeah, guy's legendary. Built this whole persona of untouchable power, control. Sources always called him things like merciless.
Yeah.
Even the merciless Macbeth of Hollywood. Total control.
Right. Living this sort of placid, philanthropic life on his super yacht until this divorce just shattered that image.
And then on the other side.
Then you have Donovan Michaels, born David Armstrong, 32 years old. And his backstory is, the complete opposite of Geffen's life.
Yeah, I read he was orphaned really young.
As a toddler.
Yeah.
Ended up in the Michigan foster care system at just 18 months old. And that background, that instability, it's not just a sad detail. It's become a cornerstone of his legal strategy. Well, before Geffen, Michaels had, a varied history. He worked as a go-go dancer. That's where the name Donovan Michaels came from. He legally changed it. Fitness instructor.
And sources confirmed he also appeared in adult films, right? Under the name Brandon Foster.
Correct. Back in 2014, 2015 for studios like Randy Blue. Now, normally you might expect someone to downplay that in this situation.
But he didn't?
Nope. His legal team leaned into it. They explicitly framed him as this marginalized, young, gay black man, highlighting the poverty, the foster care, the trauma, positioning him directly against the wealthy, powerful, white, gay billionaire.
Wow. So that instantly flips the script on the whole gold digger narrative people might jump to.
Exactly. It reframes it. Is it calculation or is it exploitation by the person with all the power? It makes it a story about class, race, power in Hollywood. Very calculated defense.
Gives him a kind of moral high ground, or at least complicates the picture.
Definitely. And speaking of calculated beginnings, this whole 9-year entanglement apparently started with a very specific, very transactional figure.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead, because the origin story here, it involves $10,000.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. The relationship apparently kicked off in 2016. They met on seekingarrangements.com. It's just called seeking.com now.
And Michaels' own court filings described that site as a place, quote, where men like Geffen shop for the vulnerable. Oof.
Yeah, pretty pointed language. And here's the bombshell allegation that forms the basis of his later lawsuit. Michaels claims Geffen paid him $10,000 for sex on their very first night.
$10,000, right at the start.
So Michaels' team argues that set the tone, that the entire relationship, even the marriage later on, was essentially built on that commercial foundation, that it was, quote, nothing more than a transaction to Geffen.
But they did get married, March 2023, less than 2 years before the divorce filing.
They did. And Michaels claims he gave up a potential modeling career based on what he calls an express oral contract from Geffen.
An oral contract? For what?
Lifelong financial support, basically, and to be treated as an equal partner. That's his claim.
Okay, so that brings us back to the massive question. If this relationship had these, let's say, complex origins, why on earth no prenup, with $8.7 billion potentially exposed?
It's a question everyone's asking. Geffen's lawyers must have considered it. Maybe they thought, pushing for a prenup would be messy, cause conflict early on.
Messier than this? How could that calculation possibly make sense?
Well, here's the key thing you have to understand about California law. It provides a kind of firewall for Geffen's wealth.
That's so.
Because almost all of that $8.7 billion was earned before the marriage. Under California community property law, that makes it separate property.
Okay.
And crucially, Any appreciation, any dividends, any growth on that separate property also remained separate.
Yeah.
So that $8.7 billion, it was largely protected anyway.
Ah, okay. So he wasn't actually risking losing half his fortune like you might in some divorces.
Not really. The main financial risk was spousal support. And because the marriage was short, under 2 years, California law typically limits spousal support to about half the length of the marriage.
So maybe a year of payments?
Roughly. Geffen might have looked at that and thought, okay, a year of support, that's a rounding error for me. It's not worth the fight over a prenup.
But he completely miscalculated the other risks, didn't he? The reputational damage, the
Yeah.
potential well, for exactly what happened next.
That seems to be the case. It's this idea, this illusion of purchased love. Believing in a transaction can seamlessly become a real partnership without resentment or differing expectations boiling over. He was maybe financially calculating, but perhaps missed the human element.
And that oversight, that blind spot, created the opening for Michaels to strike back, not just in divorce court, but somewhere else entirely.
Precisely. Geffen hedged his bets financially, but he didn't account for Michaels using a different weapon, a full-blown civil lawsuit.
Which brings us to the weaponized lawsuit. Extortion with a 33-page complaint. This is where things got really ugly.
Yeah, the gloves came off completely in July 2025. Geffen filed for divorce first, in May. Then Michaels didn't just respond in family court. He launched this separate civil suit. Breach of contract, 33 pages detailing some pretty explosive claims.
This wasn't just about money then. This felt like it was designed to cause maximum public pain. What was he alleging specifically?
It painted a really dark picture. Michaels claimed Geffen treated him like a living social experiment. He alleged Geffen demanded demeaning sex acts. The filing used the term proclivities.
Vague but suggestive.
Right. Also alleged Geffen plied him with drugs and alcohol, pushed him into painful cosmetic procedures like laser hair removal. It was brutal stuff. And legally, it all circled back to that claim of breaching the oral contract for lifelong support.
And Geffen's camp fired back just as hard.
Oh, immediately. His response in August called the lawsuit a complete work of fiction. Said it was pure and simple extortion using petty gossip to force a massive settlement.
So Geffen's counter-narrative was that Michaels was the exploiter.
Exactly. They painted Michaels as a reckless spender. They alleged he had extensive drug use, mentioning cocaine and ketamine specifically, and they accused him of having multiple extramarital affairs, claiming he spent heavily on OnlyFans and male escorts.
Wow. So it became this public mudslinging match. Who's the victim? Who's the abuser? Was Michaels' dependency forced on him, or did he abuse Geffen's generosity?
And suddenly, you're not just talking about dividing assets. You're in the territory of, frankly, negotiation tactics that feel almost criminal. Both narratives are now out there, permanently staining the record.
And then, just when it seems like this is headed for a long, incredibly messy public trial, there's a twist. October 2025, Michaels moves to dismiss his own lawsuit.
Yeah, on the surface, that looks like maybe he blinked, right? Like he gave up.
But the details matter here, don't they?
Critically, he filed to dismiss the suit without prejudice. That little phrase is everything.
Explain that. What does without prejudice mean in this context?
It means he reserves the right to refile the exact same lawsuit at any time in the future. If he had dismissed it with prejudice, the case would be dead forever. Without prejudice keeps the threat alive.
The lawsuit was never really meant to go to trial. It was leverage.
Almost certainly, it was a strategic weapon. You file this incredibly damaging, detailed complaint, let it sit in the public record, cause maximum reputational harm, and then you withdraw it, but hold the threat of bringing it back. It's like holding a sort of Damocles over Geffen's head.
Forcing him to the settlement table to make it go away for good.
Exactly. Geffen now has to negotiate a very, very large private settlement because the alternative is potentially having all that dirty laundry aired again publicly, maybe even in a trial with discovery and depositions. It's classic hardball negotiation.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in the world of celebrity drama, because the Geffen saga is clearly far from over.
It really isn't. The legal fight might settle privately, but the damage is done. You now have these two permanent competing stories etched into public memory. Is Geffen the predatory billionaire, preying on the vulnerable? Or is he a lonely older man duped by a calculating operator?
And Michaels, is he the courageous victim who stood up to power? Or a sophisticated extortionist?
The huge disparities, age, wealth, background, race, just guaranteed this was going to be explosive. It feels like it was always going to end messily.
So what's the big takeaway here?
I think it's a really potent modern cautionary tale. It shows the volatility you get with these extreme power imbalances, the fantasy
Yes.
of purchasing companionship or love, and how fragile that illusion is.
The idea that a transaction can just become a partnership without addressing the inherent inequality.
Right. Geffen might have legally protected his billions with the separate property rules, but his legacy. That image of the untouchable, meticulously controlling figure, that's been irrevocably damaged by this whole public spectacle. The fight was never just about the money. It was about the narrative.
And that narrative fight seems to have cost him dearly, regardless of the final settlement number.
Absolutely. What we're likely seeing now is just haggling over the price tag to make that sword of Damocles finally disappear.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.